The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera, and by Mosaic, your Lightroom photos automatically on every device and backed up, and by Shootproof, the easy way to proof and sell your photos online.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Curran and Joseph Christina as they chat about the art and business of photography.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 99. I'm Joseph Christina here with my co-host Trevor Curran. On last week's episode 98, we talked about a great tool called Google Keep. Facebook finally gets threaded timeline comments, and how knowing your client, knowing the location, and simply being respectful can increase your bottom line. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at our website, digitalphotographycafe.com, in iTunes, listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox music apps, or watch in HD on TiVo.
So, Joe, we are back.
We are here. How are you doing, my friend?
I think we're both a little jacked this week, right?
Yes.
You got the cold coming on, and I woke up this morning, I almost fell out when I got out of bed.
It's season. You know, I feel like we say this every week. It's like, I actually wanted to do the show this week, both of us in robes.
Bathrobes, I know.
Yes, bathrobes and the cup of tea. You know, if you guys hear us coughing or sneezing or whatnot, it's or if we don't sound the norm,
you'll know why.
It's probably because we're under the weather, but you guys come first.
If you see me disappear from the screen, you'll know I passed out. So
yes, and I'm going to call 911 and we'll send them your way.
That's right.
So anyways, we got a really good show, and we got a bunch of listener questions and comments and stuff, and we're going to kind of address a couple of them. Right?
Yeah. So last week we got an email from a listener. His name is Fred. And he basically is a new listener to the show. He complimented us about the show. He said, great stuff. We appreciate that as always. But he commented, since he's listening, obviously he's listening to the audio. He's not watching the video. And he commented on this swoosh, like this whoosh sound. It
is a swoosh, isn't it?
In the audio. And you know what? So we figured we would just address that topic because honestly, we didn't even think about it.
Yeah, didn't even think about it. Yeah, so I mean, we went to video right around, I guess it's show 52, right. And at that point, you know, we started doing transitions and stuff and bringing in exterior content, so to kind of liven up the show and kind of depict the things that we're talking about, and to kind of note or demark that point when we enter into that extra
like
content,
a screen video or something.
Yeah, exactly. There's a slight swoosh as the screen actually moves and the new content appears. Now, if you're listening and you're not watching, I guess that swoosh could be kind of odd or annoying, or it doesn't supposed to be there. So me, as doing the editing, have said, you know, we've kind of, you know, went back and forth with this, but what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to do 2 exports, and I'm going to export an audio only export and also our regular video as well as our extremely large HD video.
Right.
So there's going to be 3 exports. So hopefully, unless I forget, all the audio content that goes out in solely MP3 format will not have the whooshing during the show. It might have it at the beginning and the ends, but not during the content of the show.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for bringing that to our attention, Fred. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, just one of those things.
You've given me more work, and I'm happy about that.
Yes, that's right. That's right. No, it's all good. Ways to improve it. That's for sure.
Absolutely, little by little.
So we also got a question on Facebook this week from RJ. Right. And he said, I'm currently in the process of relocating to a bigger city due to my wife's job. I currently have a small portrait and wedding business as a hobby side job. And I'm wondering what steps I should take to brand my business in this new city to get my name out there.
That's a broad, very large question. That is a rabbit hole that we can go down for hours. We did discuss some of this in previous episodes, and maybe in our show notes we can kind of highlight those episodes that you can kind of review. which will give you even more detailed information. But I guess we can touch on a few of the ideas, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of like a laundry list of first steps to take, and I would certainly start out. I mean, before you even worry about getting your name out there, you need to know who you're trying to get your name out to. So first thing you need to do, research the competition. You know, you don't even have to be living in the city yet. Just simply go onto Google, use your keywords, enter your city name, enter your zip code, search for photography, wedding photography, portrait photography, and see who shows up. Investigate their websites, check them out, know who your competition is, first off.
Yeah, because if you're moving from big city to somewhere rural or vice versa, your populace is going to be completely different, and the people that you're trying to reach is going to change dramatically. So definitely know your people.
That's right. Know your competition, then know your target audience. So, you know, who is the target audience in your city and the surrounding areas? You know, a great way to do this is by using Facebook's advertising tool, which is really cool because, you know, fact of the matter is a good portion of the populace is on Facebook. And there are, you know, Facebook gives you some great tools to be able to see who these people are. So
yeah, demographics by zip code, very, very neat.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can put in the zip code. You can put in other demographics like, are they engaged? Are they single? Female or male? I mean, if you're looking to do weddings, female is probably the term you'd want to put in there for
the
that.
target.
Then you can target your age. Realistically, you know, kids, young people getting married, I mean, kind of starting maybe after college. So from 22 on up, maybe to like age 45, you know, you could just narrow down who your target audience is. You know, you can even select whether they're college educated. You know, I mean, that's really good to know whether or not they're may potentially have money, you know, whether they have a good job, you know, that type of thing. It's a great way to source that out. Then as far as from the portrait side, I mean, what type of portraits do you do? Do you do family portraits? Do you do children portraits? So there's other keywords that you can put in there, like you could put in mother, you could put in soccer mom, you know, things like that are key to who a portrait buyer would be.
Exactly. It's so that the entire Facebook tool there is just stellar. I mean,
really
it's so great for being able to really break down a certain location as far as demographics and just see what kind of numbers you get.
Yes.
Even if you use it or you don't use it, I would suggest using it, give it a shot. You know, I've had kind of lukewarm response with it, but you know, you've done pretty well with it. It's really kind of hit and miss, and it really depends on the specific topic that you're going, you know, who you're trying to reach and whatnot.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't necessarily have to do Facebook ads to use the ad tool. Exactly. You can just kind of go through the process if you were creating an ad and then just, you know, cancel out of it. But it's a great way to get demographic information. You know, if you were going from a small city to like New York City, then you would know that your audience would be huge regardless. And you probably wouldn't even need to do this type of work. But if you're going from, you know, a rural area to another city, but may not be a metropolis like New York, you know, it's a great tool to find out what the population is. I mean, the census tools, you can even Google the census tools and put in your zip code of this area and get an idea of, you know, what the populace is, the basic demographic information that they collect there. That's really helpful.
Yeah, knowing your competition is one thing, but knowing who your target audience is first and foremost.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, then after that, you know, once you get to your new location, it's really a matter of networking. You want to start with the face-to-face networking, join the local business groups, Chamber of Commerce, BNI. I mean, we talk about those a lot. Get involved in local events, you know, craft fairs, family events, school events, kids sports. You know, the more you show your face and the more you start talking to people, letting them know you're a photographer, you know, and maybe even get involved and do some shooting for free, you know, with these local groups to maybe get your name out there. That's a great start.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about doing free gigs, doing some nonprofit work for the nonprofit, you know, organization of your choice.
Yes.
Something that you have a passion for or you feel compelled to help in one way or another. And, you know, even if you don't do it for free, you do it for a reduced amount. You know, it can be, you know, highly beneficial, greatly beneficial to you by doing these type of events, because you get to meet some very big people that go to these events and kind of schmooze with the upper echelons, as it be of that specific county that you're going to be, working in. And you could definitely, come up with some really nice contacts in a very short period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I know that I've benefited greatly from being involved with my local chamber. So I highly, highly recommend that. Then get involved in local online communities. So check out the new city, see if that city has a Facebook page. It may be sponsored by, an organization within the city.
Right.
Also check to see if there are any other popular localized Facebook pages, whether, you find a lot of time, like third-party companies or whatever, they start a resource page or a local events page or something like that.
Right.
That's not directly affiliated with the township, with the city that you're going to be in. But being involved with those pages, interacting on those pages, asking questions, posting comments, again, it's a great way to get your name out to that local community through social media.
Absolutely. Yep. Social media is good. Of course, then you have, out of the social, out of the virtual, and go into the real, right? Yep. And you can do some print ads. You can, piggyback on some other ads that are going out. You can do, mailing is still not dead.
No.
And if you can really kind of hone down to the location of the people that you're trying to target, and send out a specific number of mailings that you can afford to send to those specific homes, you can, you might glean some, let's say, large amount of business. Sometimes it's kind of hit and miss also, just like if you're doing a Facebook thing. But if you hit it right and you get that populace right and you send something that is timely, you can really do well. Especially, like, perfect example, if someone is a portrait photographer and they do seniors. They know seniors are going to be graduating from high school X on this specific week. Let's say a month before, put out that senior package where you do high-end senior portrait work. So you don't just have that, the cap and gown stuff. I mean, like, really beautiful work, and show some of your work in that flyer that you send out. And you'll be surprised how many people will call and have their daughter or son photographed in that way, that they have that senior
Absolutely.
shot.
Absolutely. And you know what? Another thing, maybe do a press release. Local newspapers, especially if they're smaller, they're always looking for content. And if you're a new business in town, send them a press release, contact somebody, a letter to the editor type of deal. Say, hey, I'm a new wedding portrait photographer in town, blah, blah, blah. This is my experience. And maybe they'll run it. That's great for
they might run it, they might not, but it can't hurt to
That's
give it a shot. Absolutely.
So, I would suggest, head back to our website, go over to the past shows tab that we just kind of put in place last week. It lists all of our shows where we talk about a lot of these different topics in detail. You could just scroll down the list and skim through the excerpts and listen to those shows. You'll get a lot more information.
That is an awesome, awesome page. Yes. Definitely. We'll put it up on the screen. Once you get there, you'll be able to see excerpts basically from each specific show, the dates that they came out, and you can very easily do a find on that page and be able to find exactly what you're looking for. It was probably, kudos to Trevor for putting that together, because that is going to be very helpful for you guys if you're trying to find out some information on some past shows that we've done. So,
absolutely.
Awesome, awesome job. So anyways, let's go ahead and take a quick break and hear from a few of our sponsors.
Are you frustrated with slightly out of focus images when you know your autofocus spot was dead on? It's simply not your fault. From manufacturer to manufacturer, and even lens copy to lens copy, there are slight variances to the exact spot where light is being focused onto the sensor. Finally, there's a product that allows you to compensate for those variances and make sharper images immediately. Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, is an absolute must for every photographer. If you want to make the sharpest images possible, then you need to take control over your camera's focusing system. With the Focus Pyramid, you can calibrate all of your lenses on your lunch break. The Focus Pyramid makes lens calibration quick and easy at an affordable price. So give your lenses a new lease on life and take your photography to the next level. Head over to focuspyramid.com/DPC and get an additional 10% off just for being a show listener. From phones, tablets, laptops, and PCs, these days photographers use multiple internet-connected devices.
Have you ever wished you could view your Lightroom images, folders, collections, and metadata from any of these devices? Now you can.
Mosaic Storage Systems has created Mosaic View, an application that gives you access to your images without exporting or using a publishing service.
Mosaic also offers Mosaic Archive, which directly integrates with Lightroom as a powerful cloud backup solution.
Mosaic gives photographers access to all of their images from anywhere on virtually any device.
Try Mosaic View today for free and access 2,000 of your most recent images.
As a Digital Photography Cafe viewer, Mosaic is offering a 20% discount off any of their premium plans.
Go to mosaicarchive.com and use coupon code DPCAFE at checkout.
Mosaic. Lightroom, anywhere, any device, secure, backed up. As photographers, we're always trying to increase sales and profits after every event.
We shoot an event and have hundreds or even thousands of images that just sit on our hard drives.
Perhaps a better workflow would increase sales by getting those valuable images in front of the client.
That's where ShootProof comes in. At shootproof.com, you can have an online gallery for all of your clients' proofing needs.
ShootProof helps increase profits while building your brand and securing your photos without charging commission fees on sales.
ShootProof galleries display your photos beautifully while helping to streamline your workflow and automate more of your business through their intuitive studio control panel.
Once approved, photos can be directly fulfilled through ShootProof's various professional lab partners or fulfilled by you.
All ShootProof plans have the same feature set. You simply choose the number of client photos stored, decide what products to sell, and the price.
Try ShootProof today by taking advantage of their free 30-day trial offer.
As a Digital Photography Cafe viewer, ShootProof is offering a 20% discount off any of their premium plans by using promo code DPC20 at checkout.
ShootProof. Upload, share, sell, print. All right, so Joe, we are back. And you know what? There was a really interesting article on DIY photography about creating LED like flashlight lighting sources.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, when I saw that, I'm like, wow, you know, okay, so the idea of using flash to LED or any type of continuous light has always been, you know, a thought in my mind because, you know, for years and years and years, I was using continuous light. Yep. You know, we would have hot lights and
those tungsten lights.
Know,
remember those blue bulbs, those blue daylight bulbs that got about 500 degrees?
You could start a fire like in a second just by dropping like,
absolutely.
You know, we've actually had models where portions of like the tips of their hair go up and smoke
start singeing
from having the product on there. But it's just so hot.
It's wicked.
You know, thousands of watts on some of these shoots. But anyways, and you know, then we started going into more of the flash stuff and you know, it's different. It's just simply different. I love Flash. Flash is fantastic. But when I was reading this article, it got me thinking, you know, we're migrating the studio here into just all of the lights that are up in the ceiling. You know, originally we had regular bulbs, then we moved from the regular bulbs to what are they, like the little fluorescent curly things, which were expensive at the time.
Sure.
We did that to save some money and, you know, hopefully cut down on some heat because it does get hot in here. And now we're moving into LEDs. Now, LEDs for the same like 100-watt light bulb, right? It used to be, you know, what you would cost $1 or $2, you know, is like, you know, close to $100.
Right.
Now they're starting to come down to 50, 40, 30. They're getting less and less and less. So we're going to be converting everything to LED. Sure. And I'm thinking, you know, what a great, you know, I love this, you know, this whole do-it-yourself thing of creating portraits using these really nice LED light bricks or a torch, you know, like a flashlight, and diffusing it because we know, right, Trev, these things are bright. Like right now we have 2 bricks on both of us, LEDs, and if you look at them, you can't see the screen anymore. It's just blue dots everywhere. It's so powerful. Yeah. So the key there is to diffuse them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're using the SEMA bricks, and these things work really, really nice. They put off a lot of light. They're really great for for portrait, for product photography or what have you, but they are small. Now they do have the light panels, which you can get like the 1 foot by 1 foot jobbies, and they're like $1,000. I mean, they're really expensive, but this LED technology is coming way down in price. And, there's a while back on Current Photographer, we had a guest post from one of our friends, Scott Wyden, who actually wrote about using the small little puck lights that you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that. Right. They're like the push button lights. They're LEDs, but they work great for little accent lights. There's no heat. They run off like a AA battery, and they run for hours and hours, and they're really good. So yeah, the idea of kind of a DIY makeshift system for right now of getting a whole bunch of low cost lights, banking them together, diffusing them for a low temperature light is a great idea. But the beauty is the technology, the cost of the technology is coming down. So you're going to see high-end photography light prices coming way down as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The key here, guys, is that if you're going to try the LED method, is, make sure that you get a bulb that is variable, that you can dim. Yep. That's number one. And number two, if possible, try to find one that you can adjust the Kelvin. Yeah. You can adjust the light color. So that, like, for example, with the bricks that we have here, these little Siemens, what happens is we can dial in how bright they are, but then we can also dial in how much yellow or how much blue is involved in them so that we can kind of balance the light pretty well. It's not 100% dead on, but it's pretty good. Exactly. And having that, ability to dial in the color is very, very helpful. Now, these type of things, they have a really, really, let's say, short range. The fall off is quick.
It is.
So you're not going to be able to use one of these LED bricks and then shoot them, for 10 feet. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to be in nice and close to the model. But I tell you what, when these things are diffused properly, dialed in, they produce the softest, most beautiful, non-glistening, glaring highlight, just soft, beautiful fall off around the face. It's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. I think that it would be as good, for me, possibly even better than some of the flash photos that you take doing portrait work.
Yeah, portrait work, studio work, product photography, that type of stuff. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Macro photography. Great.
And there's no heat. None. I mean, it's great. You could shoot food. You could shoot ice cream. Well, ice cream will melt anyway. But, I did a lot of chocolate photography, product photography for packaging and stuff. And working with hot lights, even the fluorescent lights, I had switched over to fluorescent to make life a little bit easier, get a little bit more camera time with the chocolate. And that worked, but even that would start to glisten up after a while. But using the LEDs, as long as your room temperature is down and you're using LEDs, you're not going to have that problem.
Yeah, no temperature changes. So, I guess we should ask the question, who's using continuous light? Who's using flash? If you guys have some pictures or something you'd like to share, please do so. I'm interested in the continuous light because I did it forever and we've kind of moved everything to flash. And I always like to see what people are doing with continuous light, because not for nothing, if you're new to photography and flash is very scary to you, now that continuous light is becoming more and more affordable at a cool light, not so hot. It's kind of, it's cutting the cost, the entry, that barrier to entry of being a pro and getting some really nice photos put together and really nice lighting. It's really moving that cost down. So if you're doing any continuous light photography and you're using some LED bricks or any type of LED panels or whatnot, send us a little note.
Yeah, let us know what you're using. A link. Post it on the Facebook page, shoot an email over through the website, even call the voicemail line that we have now,
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So, hey, Trev, I should ask you, have you ever used one of those Holgas? Like the little plastic toy cameras?
No, I have not used the Holga, but I've seen a lot of work from it. One of our contributors, he did a lot of work with that type of stuff and kind of to create that grungy type of look to the photography. So I've seen many, many examples of it. It's very cool stuff.
The lomography, basically, that that was very, very hot for about a year or two. I mean, it's still going.
It's still got its place, sure.
Obviously you see, iPhone Android phones and, you know, all of these, they all are coming out with
Apps
little
to simulate
plugins
it,
that emulate lomography, emulate that toy camera look and the whole colorations and, you know, light leaks and all of these anomalies that happen that make it so fun to use these type of cameras.
Right.
And, you know, they're like less than $100. Well, you know, I was looking at this, you know, I was looking through all the different things that were coming through for the week, and something that really stuck, you know, kind of stuck out was these two guys. They created basically something that I would say similar to like a Holga, but instead of a Holga being a medium format camera, this is a large format camera. It's called a travel wide, and it shoots 4x5 film instead of standard medium format film. Now, you know, when I see this thing, I'm like, oh my God, it brings me back to the day. This is, you know, so much fun. I can't, you know, I don't see you using this kind of thing for, let's say, commercial work. I mean, it's possible, but the idea of using a large format, if, you know, if you guys have never shot film, because I'm sure there's plenty of you out there that haven't shot film, you know, grab a Holga, try that first, possibly pick this up. That I saw this as a Kickstarter. They have a Kickstarter going on right now. And
yeah, they're raising money to get this product into production.
Yeah, and it's like, it's going to be like $100.
I know.
And so what do you get, right? You get like the camera body itself, back or whatever it is, and nothing up front. You have to buy your own lens.
Right.
And the lenses are relatively cheap.
But they're glass lenses. It's not like a cheap toy plastic lens.
Exactly.
So you can put some nicer glass on the front of this and really get some interesting images. But even without the glass, you can use it as a pinhole camera. So that's pretty cool too. Right.
And if you haven't done anything with pinhole stuff, you should give it a shot. Think about a pinhole camera as basically that. A huge piece of film, say yay big, 4x5, and a pinhole the size of, hence the word pinhole. Tiny, tiny pinhole, which I think they chemically etch, so it's just perfect. Just think about taking this shot and everything past, like, I don't know, maybe 5 yards or so, forever, infinite, is in focus.
Right.
Dead focus. It's an amazing look. It is really kind of cool, you know?
It is really cool. I definitely think this is something that would be fun to play with. I mean, I like film. I grew up with the film days and everything. And, you know, I know all of our commercial photographers that we used back in my early design days. They all shot with 4x5, you know, film backs on their cameras. And
Polaroids or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. And now, you know, being able to play with 4x5 film and this inexpensive body, it could be a lot of fun. It could be really neat way to create some fine art. And for commercial purposes, I mean, if you're looking to get at that certain type of look, you know, something like this could really work out well.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you can just think about this, a 35 millimeter piece of film, let's say, is yay big, let's say an inch. A 4x5 is 4x5. It's absolutely immense.
Yep.
The resolution difference between a 35 millimeter piece of film is like 12, 13 times the resolution.
Yeah,
so you think about a 5D Mark II, let's say file, 5D Mark III, let's say it's 25 meg, 30 meg, let's say. Think about 13 times, you know, and then extrapolate that on. So if you actually scan these things in, you could end up with hundreds and hundreds of megs of data. Amazing amount of data.
I mean, you could really, I mean, the film should be able to capture it. I mean, how sharp will it be? It might be a little bit soft. It might be, you know, a little blurred or what have you. But yeah, I mean, being able to scan it in at high resolution, you can work on it in Photoshop and stuff. I mean, it's just, it could be a lot of fun. It'd be a great way.
And for me, it just gives me another reason or excuse to, you know, to mix up another batch of chemicals.
Yes, that's right.
I love it. I love the smell.
Yes. Burn your nostrils.
So anyway, so, you know, kind of looking through everything, you know, your man up there has been in the news continuously.
Yes,
A-Rod.
good old A-Rod. Yeah.
Not very nice, but
not for good reasons. Yeah.
Not for, but he's been in the news a lot. And, you know, the New York Times ran a photo of him on the 31st, I think it was. I think it was Sunday. I think it was Easter. Somewhere on there. Anyways, they ran a photo of him. And I came across a backstory on how this photo came to be. And I thought it was absolutely fascinating. It was very, very interesting. So, you know, back in 2010, for the first time, the New York Times ran a front cover photo, a front page photo that came from, what was it, Hipstamatic, I think it was, and not from a professional, quote unquote, professional, SLR camera.
Right.
Which was, oh my God, that was like back in, I think it was November of 2010.
Right.
Now we're now we're years later, never done it since. All of a sudden, Instagram gets kind of the limelight, and the photo that you see on that front cover of A-Rod was actually shot with an iPhone. And the backstory here is the guy that shot it, his name is, I think it's Nick, was it Layham, I believe.
Yeah.
So he was like competing with other photographers, obviously, to get the shot. So he set up like a makeshift
studio,
but in the locker room, the bathroom. Of the locker room. So he sets up all of his lights. He takes all of his pictures with his SLR. He gets all of these great pro shots. And he says, wait a second, hold on 1 second, Alex. Don't go anywhere. Let me just take a quick pic with my iPhone. Right.
Runs it through the app and shares it on Instagram.
Immediately up on his blog and on Instagram, right? So now, a year later, I think, from when he originally shot this, the New York Times ends up wanting to use the image that he shot with his iPhone. Not even all of this, SLR work that he did, all these pro shots. They want to use that image, and that's the image that they use.
Right.
So, it kind of gets you thinking, right, Trev? Like, where is photography going? What is going on? Where do the pros stand on this? Some were very upset. Some were like, this is kind of nice.
Right.
It's a change. But there is a change going on.
Well, there absolutely is. I mean, we talk all the time about the barrier to entry into photographer dropping. The software, the hardware is all coming down. And now with the mobile phones, the resolution in the cameras being, increased, and the apps that are available to make these really cool looking images, it's all available. So from the standpoint that this is a professional photographer who designed his shot in this locker room bathroom. He designed the shot. He lit the shot. He had everything set up the way he wanted to for this professional shoot. Then he took the shot with his iPhone. The tool, it comes down to the tool. The iPhone is a few $100s, with a contract, right? It's not about the tool. It's not about the camera body anymore. It's still about the photographer. It's still about the eye.
Right.
And he designed that shot.
Yes, that for me, I don't have a problem with it at all, because just because you have an iPhone, you have, from before Hipstamatic, or you have some other, Instagram plugin that you can use to make a shot look like X or Y or Z, doesn't make the shot a good shot. It just makes more of the same. So it does take the professional to set up the lighting, set up the scene, set up how everything is going to, cast shadows even, everything, how it's set up. You still need a professional to do it. But, I tell you what, photojournalism is changing.
Yeah.
The photographers that are out there in the field trying to get, quote unquote, the shot, they're kind of, going the way of the dinosaur.
Yeah, well,
there's a lot of people out there.
Yeah, citizen journalism is really taking over. You've got more and more people with these tools out on the street that are around these events as they're breaking. They're shooting their images. They're, sharing them online. They're, contacting news outlets or what have you. And, the news outlets, they're getting a lot of this stuff for free just by connecting with these photographers. So why go out and pay the, photography, corps, to have these photojournalists out covering things? There's always going to be the need for good quality photojournalists, but things really are changing. That barrier to entry, there's a saying, even a blind squirrel finds a nut, right?
Right.
Even a very basic novice can take a camera of any kind, point it at something, and potentially get a great shot.
Right.
So we are competing with everybody nowadays.
Yeah. And like we say, the difference between a pro and an amateur is, the pro has redundancy and will capture the shot in any situation.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you throw at him, one way or another, he's going to get the shot. So, that's really
it's the consistency of quality. That really is what I think separates a pro from a novice or an amateur or even a hobbyist photographer. again, everybody has the ability to make a great image, but do you have the ability to do it consistently? And that consistency of quality is what you get paid for.
Absolutely. And that's what they're hiring you for.
That's right.
So, there's one other thing that I found that kind of, sparked something here was, everyone knows Game of Thrones. That's like the huge HBO monster hit right now.
Right.
And on Easter Sunday, there's a Torrent Freak. It's basically Torrent Freak is a website that talks about copyright, and they talks about BitTorrent and
sharing
this type of
files,
thing. Sharing and P2P,
like
right, peer-to-peer and all this stuff. Anyway, so Torrent Freak comes out with this record number of 163,000 simultaneous. Listen to this: simultaneous peer-to-peer sharing, illegal transfers, illegal sharing of Game of Thrones on that specific day, obviously with the the series. So
that's huge. I mean, that's a lot of audience right there. 163,000 people who now are seeing this show for free, rather than having their paid subscription to HBO to see it.
Right. So, so after this comes out, so what happens? Immediately, Entertainment Weekly, goes straight over to HBO and asks. His name is Michael.
Yeah, Michael Lombardo,
I believe. He's the president of programming over there, and he asks him, what is it, Michael? What do you think about this? This blatant piracy of your show that's going on, and look at this, 160-some thousand downloads simultaneously of the show.
Right.
And so you would think that, oh my God, he's probably his panties are in a bunch or something,
Right.
And sure enough, it didn't happen that way. So this is what he quotes. He's like, well, I probably shouldn't be saying this. And that's where, oh my God, right? Oh my God. But it's of sorts a compliment. Now think about that, Trev. Right? A compliment.
Yeah. I know.
Is
right?
that amazing? Then he comes back and he says, "Listen, the demand is there, which is amazing, and just to say the least." And the thing that really stuck out is he said that there was absolutely no negative impact to their DVD sales.
Right.
And I'm thinking about this. I'm like, that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Yeah. Then he follows it up with saying, piracy is something that comes along with having a widely successful show on a subscription network.
Yeah,
so
that's what he should say as a programming, as the programming guy, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, and it is. And you know what? Not for nothing. I mean, Game of Thrones is absolutely, huge right now.
Yeah. It's real popular.
It's like first season Soprano almost.
Sure.
It's just immense. It's huge. So HBO has always been doing good stuff. Every year they come up with something that just blows up. But so why as photographers should this even, mean anything? And, I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, here he is saying that, hey, I shouldn't be saying this, but piracy isn't really a bad thing because it's not affecting us, Right. And, maybe as photographers, we're holding on too tight to our photos. It's like that drop of water. When you try holding on to that drop of water so tight, it squeezes through your hands, right? But if you hold it very gently, you keep that drop of water. It's that same type of idea. Maybe we should start sharing our photos a little bit more.
Right.
Maybe giving our photos away, maybe for free, or maybe kind of visit some Creative Commons options with our photos to kind of get them out there. Because I tell you what, the best photo that you've ever done, Trev, or the absolute best photo that I've ever captured, if it's stuck on my hard drive and no one has seen it, I've never put it to print. Right. Let's say I've never shared it. Well, guess what?
It does you no good.
It's not that great.
Yep.
It's great to me, or it's great to you.
No way at all. That's right. Yeah. I mean, the idea of sharing, right? I mean, we always talk about social sharing your images online. Just last week we talked about it. We talked about, protecting it. The week before that, we talked about the social sharing sites stripping out your EXIF data. So, I mean, yes, these are all
orphan work. We talked about orphan work, I believe it was last episode.
Exactly. I mean, so these are all real concerns, but, taking a cue from this, maybe sharing your work isn't a bad thing. For example, I, as a designer, I need imagery. Sometimes I have to resort to stock photography if it's something that I'm not able to shoot myself. All right. So, you know, a lot of times I use iStock, I use a couple other different places, but Shutterstock, for example, is one place that I had to use to get some images. So now I'm on their mailing list, and every week I get an email from them with a free stock photo of the week and a free illustration of the week.
Smart business.
So, yeah, I mean, so as a designer, I can look at that and say, this is pretty cool. Maybe I could use this image for something. I'll download it, start creating a collection of them or what have you to use them in the future. Right. If you're out there shooting images, if you're a commercial photographer and you're shooting kind of products, things that accessorize a product, things that are non-product descript. I mean, sure, you could turn around and sell them on iStock or elsewhere, but you can also sell them yourself. I mean, many photographers are licensing their images to be used commercially. So if you maybe take a page from this, a page from Shutterstock, maybe offer some of your images out there for free in return for the name and email address. Get them on your email list. Start contacting art directors, graphic designers, and who are local. It's a great way of getting your name out there and say, oh, and by the way, we offer a free stock image per week, that you can use, blah blah blah, just for signing up for our list. Yeah.
So maybe it could be screensavers, like a screensaver picture, or maybe it could be like a phone background image. Most importantly is just watermark it. It's not a big deal. Put your watermark in there. Your name is important, but it's not as important as your website address, because you want them to see that and come back to you for more.
Yep.
So if you put let's say your website is abc.com, instead of just putting abc.com, maybe put free.abc.com or abc.com/free. And this way they know that if they follow that link, they're going to get more of the same, more great work. That's right. And they're going to be able to get it for free. Now, make sure once they get there, either you somehow capitalize on it. Remember, you have to either get their email address, then there's some kind of contact information, or push them to some paid product. So maybe on that page you have 20% of your images are free on that page, and the other 80% they have to buy.
Right.
And maybe, so this way that once you get them there, somehow, some way, they could become either a fan, a stellar fan, maybe a client, maybe, a future client. But at least you get them in the door by sharing your work.
That's right. I mean, I know a lot of this probably sounds counterintuitive to everything that we talk about, that everybody else talks about, protecting your work. But you're absolutely right. If you hold on to it so tightly, if you don't put it out there, nobody's going to see it anyway. And then you start putting it out there, but you put big, huge, massive watermarks over everything so nobody steals it. Yeah, okay, I get it. That makes sense. But you really need to get out there, and maybe trying to share your work in these ways may be another alternative, another way for you to get your name out there, to build your reputation within the photo community of creating great work and spreading it out there. So I think it's worth a try.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Like that drop of water, right? Don't squeeze it too tight or it will get away. So anyways, we need to get out of here. This is show 99. I can't believe it.
Show 99, I know. That's right. They've got the big 100 next week. So definitely tune in to the big 100. We've got some cool things lined up, and we're actually going to be running a giveaway. We've got some great sponsor prizes that are going to be coming your way. So definitely tune in next week to get all the details about that.
Absolutely.
And yes, and also I can't forget, Joe, the call-in line.
Yes.
We would love
440-345-6707.
That's right. We've got that down now, right?
Down.
Definitely call in, give a call to the line, with your well wishes, just say hi, mention your name, your website address, and we're going to try and get them on the show for the 100th.
As many as we can.
Yep.
Absolutely. It sounds good.
All right. So Joe, if people want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Just find me on Twitter. You can go to @Joseph Christina, and that's Christina without an H.
That's right. And you can connect with me on Twitter, and it's at Trevor Current.
So, all right, guys, we are out of here once again. You can get all of the show notes from this episode by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com/99. And don't forget, if you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star review in iTunes. Help spread the word through Twitter. And now you can give us a call through our new comment line by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com/love. So keep your questions and comments coming, and we'll see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe show with Trevor Current and Joseph Christina. Be sure to subscribe to the show for free in iTunes or through RSS. You can also listen on Stitcher and TuneIn Radio and watch in HD on TiVo. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your hosts.